Yeah, I know. 2 more weeks until whatever the hell. Hey, I know this is kind of out of character for, you know, the visage of death personified, but, you want to head over to Starbucks, maybe get a latte or something, and talk this shit over? Yeah, well, worth a shot, right? Okay then, Skeleton Kenpachi, let's do this. Hey everybody, Tekking101 here, back again to a Bleach review. I know we've been on a 2-week hiatus because of Kubo being ill, but luckily his illness would not have affected his mangaka skills whatsoever in this chapter. Okay, it's a little bit of a mind screw, so bear with me guys, because it's one of those situations where I didn't know what the hell I was reading the first time I read this chapter this morning, but maybe, you know, I've consulted with some people, you know, throughout the day over Facebook and everything, so maybe we'll have somewhat of a good idea what's going on here. And if at the end of the day, if my interpretation of what happened isn't the one that actually happened, because I nitpick everything to an insane degree, go watch, you know, Ace or King of Lightning. They probably analyzed it better than I did. But anyway, chapter starts off with Kenpachi delivering the death blow to Unohana. Or is it? No, it wasn't, actually. What actually happens is that Kenpachi gets wounded instead, and then we get his pan out to see exactly what was happening with Unohana, and this is where stuff that confused me number 1 happened. Okay, so we have Unohana standing there with her wound that is slowly closing up as a net made of Kido surrounding her. It looks a lot like that Suriboshi Kido net that Izuru and Momo used back in Fake Karakura Town arc, and this is explained by Unohana, who says, "This is the reason I became so proficient in Kido." Alright, so first I assumed that she was simply using Kido to heal her wounds, but then I looked at the whole panel, and I'm like, okay, well, if she's just using Kido to heal her wounds, then why is the Kido, like, stretching, like, on the ground? Like, why is it, like, in a net shape when, you know... Although, to be fair, probably the main reason I didn't look into that panel that much when I first read the chapter is, you know, I saw the first panel and I'm looking at it, I'm like, oh, okay, I wonder what that's have to do with anything else, and I scrolled down a little bit, and oh my god, this is gonna be so cool! This is gonna be like a massive, you know, visage of a ghost appearing and, like, ripping through Kenpachi's skin, or maybe an army of zombies rise up from the... Okay, Yamamoto kind of already did that, or maybe the Grim Reaper shows up with a giant scythe and, like, slices Kenpachi down the freaking middle. And instead of what we get is Minazuki is actually her Bankai's name as well, and her sword becomes, I guess, I want to say acid from the motive of this chapter, but I mean, I guess it could be blood. I mean, it wouldn't make much sense to be blood, but I mean, acid would be the immediate thing I would go to, given it's all bubbly and everything, so I'm going to go with acid. Also, main reason I got confused why it was also called Minazuki, because that was also her Shikai name, but someone on Facebook told me that the main reason it's called Minazuki is actually because it's written in a different way, but even though the way it's written is different, it's still read as Minazuki, and the meaning actually is different. I think the Minazuki meaning when she goes into Shikai is like purify the flesh is the command. I don't know, whatever. The Bankai form for it is you know, those who exhaust everyone, or that exhausts everybody. So yeah, so her sword basically changes into a liquid type thing. Once again, I'm just gonna go with acid, you know, for, you know, the fact that acid's actually threatening. So, Kenpachi retorts by unhinging his jaw in a giant man scream, and Unohana attacks while turning into Tomoko from "It's not my fault I'm not popular" for a second there. Okay, so they clash for a little bit, and this is the main part of the chapter that me, and I'm pretty sure everybody else while watching, immediately thought of, oh my god, this is badass, but then also thought, okay, why is this happening? But you think about this being badass first, because look at it! Freaking look at it! Unohana and Kenpachi's skin is literally melting away so that they are literally nothing but skeletons clashing swords. Well, no, you can't do The Walking Dead because the Shinigami are already dead. It's kind of redundant. It makes no sense. Okay, that makes perfect sense. So, what I finally agreed and attributing this to, and this is the reason I thought her Minazuki became an acid sword, because, you know, the skin is melting away, but then I saw that Unohana's body was also melting away, and on the next page, it's actually, you know, them back to normal. So, what I finally agreed with this is, you know, people have been saying that it's either an illusion base or it's something involving Kenpachi's and Unohana's own primal desires to fight. And I'm going to attribute to that because that makes a lot more sense in the symbolic way, the way I look at it. Basically, we've gone through such a big deal throughout this entire fight of how Kenpachi is like restraining his powers and that he's slowly reawakening them throughout the fights. And this is kind of like a symbolic transition of him awakening his whole power, where, you know, his skin can be seen as a restraint or a weakness or maybe any kind of weakness or humanity he has in him. And, of course, your skeleton, your bare bones, means death. It means complete, you know, like literally Shinigami. I mean, if you look at a skeleton in any kind of culture, they're gonna be like, yeah, that's death, that's evil, stay the fuck away from that. So in this panel, we can see Unohana and Kenpachi's like skin melting away to become nothing but embodiments of Shinigami, gods of death, and they're clashing, you know, with just pure raw instinct. So that's what I'm taking away from this. I mean, the illusion thing might make sense in a way, but like this just makes more sense in the symbolic way. That's just the way I look at stuff because I'm a nitpicker. So I'm going with that. And plus the fact that they have that inner monologue. Shonen cliche number 17, by the way. We've been getting a lot of that, haven't we? This entire fight between Kenpachi and Unohana. I mean, the two don't talk much during the fight itself, but we get a lot of inner monologuing, do we not? That's just some. Well, I guess, you know, if Kubo had actual monologues, then people would be like complaining because, you know, that's not how Kenpachi fights. He just cuts shit up. So, I mean, it's not even mostly Kenpachi. It's mostly Unohana who's doing the monologue, but that's neither here nor there. Anyway, time while this is all going on, they both thank each other for actually aspiring and creating the true battle that both of them have so much wanted over the course of all these years. Once again, you know, why didn't they fight at all during the entire history of the Goatee 13? I know it's probably forbidden. I know there's probably laws against it, but, you know, go out in the woods or something. You know, you think after like hundreds of years of living in basically the same area, and them both knowing that, you know, you're the only person I can fight, you'd think they would have figured out some way to fight at some point. You know, I don't know. Can I tell you a dirty little secret? Yeah, you see, this one time at Soul Reaper Academy, I took my Zanpakuto toe and I and extra butter was required for this. But, you know, at the end it all worked out. I know, it actually turns out her secret is, I don't really know how much other way to put this, but she pretty much gets as much of a hard-on fighting as Kenpachi does. So yeah, these two are pretty much right. Okay. So, yeah, she even makes a big deal about this, saying that it's funny that he made so many restraints so he could not fight, and vice versa to that, she actually, the whole reason she became a healer is not to heal people or, you know, for the better of the Soul Society. The whole reason she became a healer is just to fix herself up during battle and fix her opponents up so she could, you know, continue the fight like she's been doing Kenpachi. So, you know, I could just imagine, like, when they were forming the Goatee 13, and Yamamoto comes up to Unohana, and just like, hey, yeah, so you're good at healing. Do you want to be like the captain of the healing division? And Unohana's just like, yeah, sure. You know, I originally made it so I can cut people up more, but yeah, okay, I'll kiss your boo-boos and make them all better. That works too, right? Times are changing. We have a little bit of a flashback where Unohana states that essentially there can only be one Kenpachi per generation, kind of something we already knew, and that we cut back to when she actually defeated Kenpachi as a child, or maybe, I mean, like, she defeated him as a child, but also remember that this is when Kenpachi first started the, like, mental blocks to hinder himself. So, you know, what I'm thinking is they were fighting, and Kenpachi was going to win, and right before he was going to win, maybe he stalled, or maybe his brain just like, no, stop! We need her for later! And it's just like, and then Unohana like saw the opportunity and then cut him down there. But she decided there at that point that this is a title that this kid is worthy of being fit the title of Kenpachi. So final scene of the chapter, Unohana begs a fond farewell to the only man in this world who ever brought me true joy. Aww, that's so adorable. You know, maybe Kenpachi won't kill Unohana. Maybe they'll go out and have a nice dinner and then all figure out that they really should belong to... Oh, okay, it's over. I mean, this is about as vague as a finisher as you can imagine. I mean, the actual finisher is just stabbed through the throat. I mean, Stark got stabbed in the heart, and he was still around. So, all in all, I would say this is not a definite closer, but given the emotion of the chapter and the momentum that it carried, I'm gonna say this is probably the end of Unohana. You know, I mean, but on the plus side, though, maybe she'll stay alive just long enough like Stark did. You know, like Stark got stabbed in the heart and he was still around for a little bit just to give his final thoughts. So maybe Unohana will stay around for his final thoughts, and I mean, it's Valentine's Day. Maybe Kenpachi will, like, write her a Valentine or something. I don't know. Corpses are red, Hyorimarus are blue. You melted my face off, so I stabbed you in the fucking throat. Happy Valentine's Day, Kenpachi Zaraki. Alright, so that's the end of the chapter. You know, like I said, this chapter's... I mean, like, Minazuki, the Bankai revelation, should have been the high point of the chapter. Like, that should have been the thing right there. That's something we've been wanting to know for so freaking long. And, you know, we saw it, but we didn't really get... like, she didn't define of what it was. I mean, usually at some point what'll happen in Bleach is when a character reveals, like, when a new character reveals their Bankai that we haven't seen before, usually they'll, you know, release the Bankai, do something with it, and at the end of the chapter, they'll explain, like, oh, well, my Bankai does this, or, oh, you were wrong about my Bankai, it actually does this. And we didn't get that in this chapter. I mean, we got to see its name, we got to see what it looks like, but like I said, it's so ambiguous. I mean, it could be acid, it could be blood. I have, you know, no idea, really. I mean, it just made it look more demonic at the end of the day, but, you know, like I said, that should have been the high point, and, you know, I wasn't really feeling it. You know, aside from that, we hopefully got the conclusion for the Kenpachi Unohana fight, which, not the best fight, in my opinion, in the Bleach franchise. Like I said, it just, I don't know, it just, like, the way it went with, so, you know, end of the fight. So, hopefully this will be the end of the fight, and we'll move back to the whole Ichigo Renji thing in the next chapter. But, well, maybe not in the next chapter, but we can move on to it. And, you know, like, a lot of people are gonna say, like, Unohana is dead now, and... you know, I don't know, guys. I don't. I mean, we really want Unohana to be around, but like I said this before, that, you know, I hope she's around long enough to do her Bankai, but the way this fight's going and the way that, you know, Kenpachi's supposed to get stronger and he's supposed to be even more stronger than Unohana, then, I mean, now that we know where her Bankai is, unless somebody reveals it's something else, like a big thing later on, I'm not seeing Unohana surviving this. So, you know, I apologize to her and to you guys Unohana fans, but I'm not seeing it. So, you know, that's the end of the chapter. So, you know, that's my review of Bleach Chapter 526. Like I said, I tried my best with this one, guys. I'm sorry, but even me, I'm a little scattershotted with this. So, anyway, guys, rest in peace, Unohana. You be in our hearts. Tekking101 signing out. See you guys.
Chance